The ballroom glittered under the chandeliers, a sea of Tokyo's elite swirling in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos. Alex Morgan adjusted his earpiece, his sharp blue eyes scanning the crowd. He stood out not just because of his height and build, but because of the intensity he radiated. He was here to protect Hiroshi Tanaka, the tech mogul, who was currently schmoozing with investors. All quiet on the Western Front, came the voice of his teammate, Suki, through the earpiece. She was monitoring the security feeds from the van outside. "Stay alert," Alex murmured, his gaze catching on a waiter moving with unusual grace. The man was Japanese, lean and compact, with sharp features and dark eyes that seemed to take in everything. He moved silently, almost gliding. Alex felt a prickle of unease. Kenji Soto carried a tray of champagne flutes, his expression blank. He had one objective: plant a microtransmitter on Tanaka. His clan needed the AI, and they needed it quietly. He spotted Tanaka near the balcony, laughing with a group. Perfect. He moved toward him, weaving through the crowd. As Kenji approached, Alex stepped into his path. "Can I get a drink?" Alex asked, his voice low. Kenji didn't flinch. He offered the tray. "Of course, sir." Alex took a glass, his eyes never leaving Kenji's. "You're new. I haven't seen you at these events before." "I'm from a different agency, sir," Kenji replied smoothly. "Filling in." Alex's hand shot out, grabbing Kenji's wrist. "I know every agency that works here. You're not one of them." Kenji's eyes flashed. He dropped the tray and twisted free with a move so fast Alex barely saw it. Then he struck, a knife hand aimed at Alex's throat. Alex blocked and countered with a punch. Kenji dodged, the punch grazing his shoulder. The guests around them screamed, scattering. They exchanged blows, a dance of power and precision. Alex was stronger, but Kenji was faster, his movements fluid and unpredictable. Kenji landed a kick to Alex's ribs, making him grunt. Alex grabbed Kenji's leg and threw him. Kenji flipped in the air and landed lightly on his feet. "Impressive," Alex said, circling. Kenji didn't reply. He launched forward, but Alex was ready. They clashed again, each blow resonating with the other's skill. Kenji managed to plant a device on Alex's jacket during the struggle. Then, he disengaged and melted into the panicked crowd. Alex cursed, patting his jacket. He found the device and crushed it. He looked in the direction Kenji had disappeared. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "Next time, ninja." Outside, Kenji slipped into an alley, breathing hard. He touched his shoulder where Alex had hit him. It would bruise. He took out his phone and sent a message. Failed. New obstacle. American. He paused, then added, capable. He leaned against the wall, replaying the fight. The American was strong, but he had honor. He hadn't pulled a gun, even though he could have. Kenji felt a strange thrill. He hadn't been challenged like that in years. The game was on. Tokyo shimmered beneath a blanket of neon rain. From the penthouse of the Soto compound, Kenji knelt on one knee before a circle of tattooed men, each face carved by age and violence. His uncle, Oyaba Nichiro, sat at the head of the room, wearing the silence of a man used to obedience. "You failed," Ichiro said at last, his voice measured. "Hiroshi Tanaka remains untouched. And now, the American knows your face." Kenji kept his eyes lowered. He was skilled, ex-military, efficient. He let you live. A pause. Why? Kenji blinked. That question had been clawing at the back of his mind since the gala. "I don't know." Ichiro stood, the weight of his authority falling like a blade. "If you do not retrieve the I drive, the cartel will. You know what that means, for the clan, and for you." Kenji bowed his head. "Hi, Oyabun." As he stood to leave, Ichiro added, "If the American interferes again, eliminate him." Kenji said nothing. But deep inside, something tangled. Across the city, Alex Morgan sat at the edge of his sleek apartment, a towel draped around his neck, sweat soaking his gray tank top from a brutal workout. His knuckles were bruised, training dummy broken. Again. He stared at the screen on his laptop, looping the same grainy security footage of the gala, zoomed in on the exact moment Kenji vanished into the crowd. A blur. A ghost. He paused on the shot where they clashed, face to face, the flicker of defiance in Kenji's eyes. "Who the hell are you?" Alex muttered. "Still obsessing over your ninja boyfriend?" came Suki's voice over the secure call. Alex scowled. "His Yakuza. Dangerous. And beautiful," she teased. "Admit it. You let him go." "He would have bled out if I hadn't." "That's not mercy, it's strategy." She laughed softly. "Keep telling yourself that." Alex leaned back, running a hand through his damp hair. He could still feel the tension from the fight, the speed of Kenji's counter, the way he moved like smoke and shadow. Efficient. Elegant. Too elegant for a hired thug. There was something more. And Alex needed to find out what. A week later, Akihabara District. The electronics district buzzed with life, glowing signs blinking into the night as nerds, tourists, and agents of war moved shoulder to shoulder, most unaware they were in a battlefield of secrets. Alex moved through the crowd, dressed casual, dark jeans, leather jacket, baseball cap pulled low. But under the surface, his posture was all soldier. He was trailing a suspected cartel member, one connected to a recent attempt on Tanaka's life. But as he passed a manga cafe, his phone buzzed. Unknown sender, Ali. 2 blocks behind. Now. His eyes narrowed. A trap? He turned, hand brushing the gun at his waist. The alley was narrow, flickering with broken lights and vending machine hum. He stepped inside. A figure emerged from the misted shadows. Kenji. Same lean build, dressed in black, a hoodie half-zipped, lips cut from a fight he hadn't lost. His eyes were calm, unreadable. Rain slicked his hair against his jaw. Alex's fingers itched. "You're getting bold," Alex said. Kenji tilted his head. "You've been following the wrong man. That cartel lieutenant, his bait. They know your patterns." Alex's brow furrowed. "Why warn me?" Kenji stepped closer. "Because they're not playing by your rules anymore." Silence stretched. "Then, you're bleeding," Alex said, nodding to the cut on Kenji's side. Kenji looked down, like he hadn't noticed. "It's nothing." Alex reached into his pocket, tossing a small gauze pack toward him. "You should patch it before it gets infected." Kenji caught it midair, eyeing him. "You care?" he asked softly. Alex's voice was low. "I care about not having to shoot you later." A ghost of a smirk curved Kenji's lips. Then he stepped forward again, close enough for Alex to feel the warmth of his breath. "You could have stopped me at the gala," Kenji murmured. "Why didn't you?" Alex's jaw tightened. "I saw something in your eyes. You didn't want to hurt anyone." "Not really." Kenji's smile faded. "You're wrong," he said, but it lacked conviction. Then, footsteps. 3 cartel men rounded the corner, guns raised. Kenji's eyes snapped to Alex's. "Run or fight?" Alex drew his weapon. "Fight." A flurry of violence. The alley exploded into motion. Alex moved like a wall, brutal, calculated. Kenji was a blur of speed and stealth, striking pressure points with surgical grace. One attacker went down with a cracked throat, another slumped under Alex's elbow. The last tried to run. Kenji flung a knife into his leg and took him down hard. Breathing ragged, the 2 men stood in the aftermath, lit by the glow of a flickering sign that read Koi no Yum, dreams of love. They looked at each other. Both bleeding. Both alive. Both still pretending this wasn't more than coincidence. Alex stepped forward slowly, his hand brushing Kenji's. For a moment, the ninja didn't pull away. "You saved my ass," Alex muttered. Kenji smirked. "You're welcome, American." He turned to leave, but stopped. "This doesn't make us allies," he said. "Alex, could have fooled me." Kenji didn't look back. But for the first time, Alex saw it. A flicker of hesitation. A man torn. A mission unraveling. Later that night, Kenji sat cross-legged in a dim room above a ramen shop, steam curling into the air. Shirtless, he dabbed at the wound on his ribs. In the mirror, the phoenix tattoo shimmered, its wings traced with scars old and new. His phone buzzed again. "Oyabun, status?" He typed, Progress made. American remains in play. He stared at the message before hitting send. Then, whispering to himself, barely audible, "I should have killed him." But the way his hands trembled? The lie was already too big to hold. Tokyo International Cybertech Expo. A fortress of glass and steel, buzzing with the world's most brilliant minds, shady investors, and the kind of tech so revolutionary it made countries nervous. Alex Morgan hated places like this. Too many bodies. Too many blind spots. He stood at the upper mezzanine in a dark suit, earpiece buzzing, one hand resting on the railing, the other lightly brushing the concealed weapon strapped to his ribs. Visual confirmation of Tanaka in Zone A, came Suki's voice through the line. No signs of trouble, yet. Alex's blue eyes swept the floor below. Hiroshi Tanaka, the man whose AI code could rewrite the future of global warfare, was grinning beside a holographic display. Then Alex's gaze snapped. A familiar face. Too calm. Too graceful. Kenji. But this time, he wasn't a waiter. He was dressed sharp, buttoned shirt, vest, dark slacks, a silver badge that claimed he was part of logistics. A perfect fake identity. His posture casual. His hands empty. But Alex had already learned, Kenji didn't need visible weapons. The bastard was the weapon. "I've got him," Alex muttered under his breath. "Suki, who?" "Our ninja." Moments later, inside the private server room, Kenji moved quickly through the server corridors, his badge getting him past security. He moved like vapor between lasers, already knowing the surveillance blind spots. He reached the main AI processor, sleek, humming with silent menace. He pulled a microtransmitter from under his cuff and bent to attach it near the neural hub. "Don't move." The voice was like thunder in his ear. Kenji slowly turned. Alex stood in the doorway, gun drawn but lowered slightly. His chest rose and fell with quiet restraint. His expression unreadable, but his eyes burned. Kenji straightened. "You again." Alex stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "Why are you after the AI?" Kenji gave a half shrug. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." "Try me." Kenji hesitated. Then, gently, "Not everyone has a choice about who they work for." Alex's grip tightened on the gun. "Don't play victim. You've hurt people. So have you." Kenji's tone was soft, but it cut. "I've read your file. Afghanistan. Rio. The ferry incident in Istanbul. You're no saint, Morgan." Alex blinked, just once. He'd done his research. Kenji stepped closer, slowly, like approaching a cornered animal. "You think this is black and white. Good guy, bad guy. You'd be surprised how often the people who hired you are the worst ones in the room. I don't need a lecture on morality from someone with a kill order in his back pocket." "No," Kenji murmured. "You need to admit you're intrigued." That hit a nerve. Alex's nostrils flared. Kenji reached behind him, fast. Alex reacted faster, slamming him against the cold server stack, gun pressing against his chest. The transmitter clattered to the floor. They were close now. Too close. Kenji's shirt had torn in the scuffle, buttons popped open, revealing a glimpse of ink across pale skin. A phoenix. Its wings stretched over his heart. Scarred. Old. Alex stared, breath hitching. "That tattoo," he said roughly. "You got it when you were a kid." Kenji's lips barely moved. 13. Alex's voice dropped. "You were forced into this. I chose to survive." Kenji's voice cracked, just barely. Then he smiled. "Do you still want to shoot me?" Alex didn't answer. He was still pressing Kenji to the metal cabinet, but the energy had shifted. His gun had lowered without him noticing. Now it was only their bodies between them, tense, pulsing, hot. Alex's hand was still on Kenji's chest. Kenji didn't move, didn't breathe, but his eyes said everything. "Touch me. Hate me. Want me." Then, an explosion. Far away, near the main expo floor. Both men flinched. Suki's voice crackled in Alex's earpiece. "Breach at the north end. Multiple hostiles. Cartel." Kenji's face shifted instantly. They're early. They're not supposed to move yet. Alex narrowed his eyes. You're working with them? No, Kenji's tone was sharp, honest. They're playing everyone, including my clan. The hallway lights flickered. Sirens began to blare. Alex hesitated. For 1 second. Just one. And in that moment, Kenji kicked off the server stack, twisting free. He dove for the corner, disappearing through a maintenance exit. By the time Alex reached it, he was gone. Again. But this time, it wasn't anger Alex felt. It was confusion. And something he didn't want to name. He looked down. The transmitter was still on the floor. Kenji had left it behind. He could have taken the AI. But he didn't. Later that night, rooftop near Shibuya. Kenji stood on the edge, Tokyo glowing below. Wind teased the strands of his hair. He touched his bare chest, still aching where Alex had held him. Still warm. His phone buzzed. Cartel breach successful. Tech compromised. Tanaka survived. Another buzz. Oyabun, return immediately. Kenji ignored it. He slid the phone into his pocket and closed his eyes. That moment with Alex, the silence, the heat, the feeling of being seen, haunted him more than any mission ever had. This was no longer just about the AI. This was no longer just a job. This was a war. And his heart was starting to betray him. The storm rolled in just after midnight. Tokyo shimmered under a curtain of rain, glass towers streaked with water, their lights bleeding into puddles on the street. Beneath a faded torii gate on the outskirts of Asakusa, a forgotten shrine sat in silence, its stone foxes chipped, offerings long gone, time wrapping it in solitude. Inside, hunched near a wall of rotting paper screens, Kenji pressed a blood-soaked rag to his ribs. The blade had gone in clean. Yakuza punishment. A warning. You failed. Again. No anesthetic. No sympathy. Just the knife, the floor, and the silence that followed. His breathing was shallow now. Every inhale a threat. He'd wrap the wound, but it was no good. He'd lose consciousness before dawn if he didn't. The screen slid open. He didn't flinch. Didn't reach for a weapon. He already knew who it was. Alex. Drenched in rain, a duffel slung over one shoulder, blue eyes sharp, but not cruel. He paused in the doorway, rain still dripping from the edges of his jacket. How'd you find me? Kenji asked, voice hoarse. Alex set the bag down, unzipping it. You like symmetry. You circled the shrine twice last week during Recon. Figured it meant something. Kenji gave a faint, ironic smile. You profiling me, Morgan? I read people. Alex knelt beside him, pulling out gauze, antiseptic, a small torch. I'm not your job, Kenji murmured. Alex looked at him. Maybe not anymore. For a while, they said nothing. Alex peeled away the blood-soaked wrap, silent as his fingers traced the injury. His hands were steady, but Kenji still flinched. You always this gentle? Kenji said, trying to mask pain with sarcasm. Alex didn't look up. Only when I don't want someone to die. Kenji chuckled, winced. Charming. He studied Alex now, really studied him. The crease between his brows. The tiny scar on his chin, likely from a blade. His neck, thick with tension. His hands, strong enough to kill, now moving over Kenji's side with the precision of a medic. You ever think about leaving all this? Kenji asked. Alex, the killing? Kenji nodded. Alex finished bandaging the wound before speaking. Sometimes I dream I'm teaching self-defense at a high school in Colorado. Quiet. Boring. No blood on my hands. Kenji laughed softly. You'd last a week. Alex allowed a small smirk. 3 days. A beat passed. Then, what about you? Alex asked. Kenji's gaze drifted upward to the cracked ceiling. I wanted to be a dancer. Traditional no. My mother used to take me to performances. Before she... He cut himself off. Alex waited. No pressure. Kenji exhaled. She died when I was 8. My father, he wasn't really father material. The clan raised me after that. You never had a choice. Kenji looked down at his lap, fingers curling. Not really. Until you. Alex froze. What? Kenji met his eyes. His voice was low, quiet, dangerous in its honesty. You could have killed me twice now. You had the shot, the angle, the right. Alex's mouth opened, then closed. Kenji's expression softened, not his usual sly smirk, not his mask of indifference. Just soft. Why didn't you? Alex didn't speak. He just reached out, slowly, and rested his palm over Kenji's hand. Not gripping, just touching. The world narrowed to that contact. 2 assassins. 2 enemies. 2 men who should have ended each other by now. Instead, this. The storm outside deepened. Thunder cracked. But inside the shrine, it was only silence, breath, skin, and heartbeats. Kenji's voice was a whisper. You're different. Alex didn't let go. And for the first time, Kenji didn't run. Later that night, Alex sat with his back against the wall, long legs stretched out, watching Kenji sleep. Rain tapped the wooden beams. In the dim light, Kenji looked younger. Softer. His body curled slightly to protect the wound. Alex hated how human he looked. Hated how he didn't want to walk away. He reached into his jacket, pulling out his comms device. Clicked it off. No signal. No Suki. No orders. Just him. And the man he wasn't supposed to feel anything for. Tokyo never truly slept. But tonight, it shuddered. On the edge of Shinjuku, a biotech warehouse exploded in a ball of flame, sending screams and smoke into the sky. Sirens wailed. Civilians ran. And somewhere in the chaos, someone whispered, "It's the cartel." Alex Morgan watched it burn from the rooftop across the street. His phone buzzed in his gloved hand. A single message lit the screen. Suki taken. Cartel has her. They know you and the AI. You're next. Run. D. Alex's jaw clenched. He slammed the phone down against the rooftop wall. This was no longer just a mission. They took his partner. His one constant. And somehow, the cartel knew every move they made. Meanwhile, Kenji stood inside a Ryokan bathhouse, his hoodie soaked with rain. His clan's second-in-command sat before him, swirling tea as if nothing had happened. They betrayed us, Kenji said flatly. The cartel moved on the AI without permission. They took the girl. The man raised an eyebrow. What does it matter? She was just a mouthpiece for the American. Kenji's voice turned to steel. She was his teammate. And he was your enemy. Until he wasn't. Kenji said nothing. You've gone soft, Kenji. Kenji's hand twitched toward the blade tucked into his belt. But he stilled it. Not here. Not yet. The man sipped his tea again. Finish the job. Or we finish him for you. Nightfall, rooftop rendezvous. The rain returned. Softer now. More like a warning. Alex stood under the edge of a rooftop canopy overlooking the neon sprawl of Tokyo. His knuckles were bruised. Blooded. Rage simmered under his skin. Then, footsteps. Kenji emerged from the shadows, dressed in black again, the wind tugging strands of damp hair across his face. You brought them into this, Alex growled. The cartel. My team. I didn't. Kenji's voice was calm, too calm. They're moving without us now. Playing both sides. Alex turned on him. You knew this would happen. Kenji stepped closer, unapologetic. I warned you. But you were too busy pretending you're still the hero. Alex's hand shot out, slamming Kenji against the steel wall behind him. Rain ran down both their faces. You think I won't hurt you? Alex said, voice low, lethal. Kenji's eyes didn't blink. I think you already have. Something shifted. The fire between them flared, dangerous, intimate, unavoidable. They stood inches apart, chest to chest, breaths colliding. No weapons. No lies. Just years of violence and yearning and something else neither wanted to name. Kenji's voice dropped to a whisper. You're not the only one with something to lose now. Alex looked down at him. His hand was still gripping Kenji's shirt, but it wasn't anger anymore. It was gravity. Pull. Kenji's breath hitched. His lips parted, barely. Alex leaned in, slow, unsure. Their foreheads touched. No kiss. Just a quiet, aching contact. Rain soaking them both. Eyes closed. Breaths fast. Then, gunfire below. They broke apart instantly, weapons drawn. From the alley, 3 cartel enforcers emerged. Automatic weapons, full armor. Kenji and Alex locked eyes. Later, Alex said. Kenji nodded. Promise. A half smile. Don't get killed. They moved. Together. Combat, rain and blood. The alley lit up with muzzle flashes. Alex took point, covering high. Kenji flipped over a dumpster, slicing through a knee. They moved like they'd done this forever. 2 halves of the same war. Alex caught a bullet in the shoulder, clean exit. Kenji dragged him behind a car, yanked his belt free, used it as a makeshift tourniquet. Don't die, he muttered. You'd miss me, Alex grunted. Kenji looked at him. I already do. Then, silence. The last enforcer slumped, Kenji's blade in his chest. Aftermath, empty rooftop. They made it back to the rooftop, soaked, breathing hard. Alex collapsed against the wall, clutching his arm. Kenji dropped beside him, rain mixing with blood on their skin. For a moment, they just stared at the city. Broken. Alive. Together. Kenji finally spoke. Your teammate, Suki. We'll get her back. We? Alex asked. Kenji looked at him. Really looked. I'm done taking orders. If I'm going to risk my life, I want it to be for something that matters. Alex's voice was raw. Like what? Kenji didn't answer, but his hand found Alex's in the dark. No grip. Just contact. They sat that way until the rain stopped. You didn't just walk into my world, Alex. You tore it open, and now there's no way back. Kenji. Underground Tokyo, cartel compound. The location was brutal, an abandoned metro tunnel beneath the old Ginza district. Twisting corridors, generator lights, guards in rotating shifts, and an entire data lab buried in concrete. They'd fortified it like a bunker. Alex and Kenji studied the layout on a flickering tablet, their faces pale in the blue light. She's in the east chamber, Kenji said, pointing. Interrogation holding. If they've touched her... Alex cut him off. They won't. Kenji looked at him. You trust me that much now? Alex didn't hesitate. I trust what we become when we fight side by side. For a second, Kenji looked like he might say something else, something real. But he didn't. The assault begins. At 3:11 a.m., they dropped into the saw tunnel behind the compound. Silent. Focused. Hearts pacing in sync. Kenji moved like water, slitting throats in one breath, melting into the shadows the next. Alex was fire, disarming, crushing, shooting with surgical fury. A bone snapped with every step he took. They cut a path through 10 armed men in under 3 minutes. Then, the door. Suki was behind it. Alex kicked it in. Suki's rescue and confrontation. Suki hung by her wrists, battered but breathing. Her eyes lit up. Took you long enough. Alex moved fast, slicing her down. She groaned, but she smiled. What? No, you okay? You're impossible, he muttered, pressing his forehead to hers for one relieved second. Then she saw him. Kenji. You brought him? Alex tensed. We didn't have a choice. Yes, you did, she snapped. His Yakuza. They all knew. This whole time. And you still trust him? Kenji didn't flinch. I gave them up the second they took you. Oh, how noble, Suki said, voice dripping with sarcasm. Did you tell him how many people you've killed for that clan? Enough, Alex said sharply. Suki looked at him. You're too close. You don't see it. He'll break you. Alex met her gaze with quiet steel. Then let him try. The escape, blood and smoke. The alarm blared. Red lights. Sirens. Footsteps pounding. They had 60 seconds. Alex grabbed Suki's hand. Kenji covered their flank. The exit was 4 floors up, a steel staircase swarming with men. Kenji didn't wait. He threw 3 smoke bombs and darted upward, blade flashing in arcs of light and shadow. Alex stayed low, shielding Suki, catching a graze across the ribs. Blood. Pain. Fury. They made it to the final door, and Kenji was waiting. He was bleeding too. A cut across his cheek. One eye darkened with bruising. "You okay?" Alex asked. Kenji's smile was lopsided. "You tell me." Then, they were out. Into the Tokyo dawn, fire and sirens in the distance. Alive. Somewhere safe, hideout loft, Shibuya. Later, bandages. Whiskey. Silence. Suki lay asleep on the futon. Alex leaned against the wall, shirt off, wound stitched. Kenji stood by the window, smoking. Neon signs blinked outside. "She's right," Kenji said softly. "I've killed more than I can count. I've lied. Betrayed. That doesn't stop overnight." Alex crossed to him. "I'm not asking for your past," he said. "Just your now." Kenji looked at him, really looked at him. "I want to be different," he said. "But with you, I don't even know who I am anymore." Alex reached out slowly, fingers brushing Kenji's bruised jaw. "You're the one who showed up when no one else did. You fought beside me. You saved her life." He paused. "You saved mine too." Their faces were close now. That slow, inevitable gravity again. "No more almosts," Kenji whispered. And then, they kissed. The kiss. Not soft. Not tentative. But real, hungry, desperate, crashing into each other like they'd waited years. Alex gripped Kenji's face. Kenji clutched Alex's waist. Blood and bandages and all. The kiss deepened. Slowed. Then built again. They broke apart only long enough to breathe. "I shouldn't want this," Kenji rasped. Alex leaned in again. "But you do." This time, when their lips met, it was slower. Lingering. Full of every unsaid word. Shirts came off. Hands tangled. Breaths shortened. By the time they collapsed on the mattress, the night had swallowed their names, their doubts, everything but each other. You either run from what you feel, or you stand still and let it burn through you. Alex. Tokyo, safe house loft, 4:27 a.m. The air was thick with silence. Alex woke first, shirtless, bruised, the dull ache of his stitched rib matched only by the heavier throb in his chest. Kenji was next to him. Still. Breathing evenly. One arm flung across Alex's stomach like it had always belonged there. The sun hadn't risen yet. Neither of them moved. Because the second they did, the spell would break. Alex finally sat up, gently peeling away. Kenji stirred but didn't wake. Alex didn't know what it meant, not yet. Only that something had shifted. And it would never shift back. Later that morning, the fallout. Suki sat on the windowsill, sipping hot tea like it was a weapon. "You slept with him." Alex didn't deny it. "You kissed a Yakuza soldier. You let him in, Alex. How do you think this ends?" Alex rubbed his temple. "I don't know. He's not who he was." "He is, Alex. That's the problem. Maybe he wants to change. But the world doesn't care about want. The cartel's coming. His people won't forgive him. And now they'll come for you, too." Kenji entered then, towel draped over his shoulders, hair damp. He paused. "No need to whisper," he said quietly. "I know exactly what I am." Suki stood. "Good. Then you'll understand why I don't trust you." Kenji's jaw clenched. "You don't have to. I didn't save you for your forgiveness." Suki narrowed her eyes. "You saved me for him. Don't pretend otherwise." Alex stepped between them. "That's enough." He turned to Kenji. "She's not wrong. We're in deep. And I need to know. What are you not telling me?" Kenji exhaled. And the dam broke. The confession, Kenji's darkest secret. Kenji's eyes met Alex's, raw and steady. "There's one mission I never talk about. The one that brought my way into the clan." He swallowed. It wasn't a rival. It was a purge. Internal. I was ordered to eliminate a former informant, an ex-cop working with an anti-trafficking unit. Alex went still. Kenji continued, voice hoarse. I didn't know his name until after. Gabriel Cross. Silence fell like a blade. Alex's voice cracked. He was my partner. I know. Kenji looked hollow now. That's why I never approached you at first. That's why I couldn't look you in the eye for months. I've lived with it every day. Suki's hand covered her mouth. Alex just stared. I was trying to keep my sister alive. The clan had her on a leash. One wrong move, and they'd... Alex punched the wall, hard. Blood bloomed from his knuckles. You should have told me. I couldn't, Kenji whispered. You'd never have listened. And now? Alex asked, breathing hard. Kenji stepped closer. Now I want to burn them to the ground. Every last one. For Gabriel. For you. Alex looked like he was about to break. Then, his phone rang. The cartel strikes back. Suki answered it. Her face went pale. It's Major Harlow. Alex, your old unit's base. It was hit. Alex snatched the phone. What happened? 2 dead. 1 missing, Harlow said grimly. The cartel sent a message. They know we've been helping you. You've got a traitor somewhere. Alex's stomach dropped. Kenji stepped forward. They're trying to isolate you. This is how they work. Divide, cut deep, then kill. We can't run anymore, Alex said. They've made it personal. Kenji looked at him. Then let's make it bloody. That night, on the rooftop. The rain fell, gentle but steady. Alex stood under it, face turned skyward, shirt soaked through. His mind was a storm of grief, guilt, and fury. Kenji joined him. No words. Just presence. Then, I hated you, Alex said quietly. For Gabriel. For what you took. But I also hate how much I want to forgive you. Kenji's breath hitched. I don't want your forgiveness, he said. I want your fire. I want your trust. I want whatever last piece of you I haven't broken yet. Alex turned. You think I have anything left to give? Kenji stepped into his space, their foreheads nearly touching. I think you're the only real thing I've ever wanted. And just like that, no more resistance. They kissed again. Not like last time. This was slower. Deeper. Full of ache and silence and buried things. This was 2 broken men choosing to shatter all over again, together. You walk into fire, you better be ready to burn. Kenji. Tokyo, an hour before the infiltration. Kenji stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the traditional black shirt that marked him as one of them again. The Yakuza crest stitched onto the breast made his skin crawl. Behind him, Alex stood silent. You don't have to do this, Alex said. Kenji's reflection didn't flinch. Yes, I do. I know how they think. What they fear. If I'm going to help bring them down, I have to go back in. You almost died the last time. Then this time, I'll die making it count. Alex grabbed his wrist. Don't talk like that. Kenji turned. And finally, the truth cracked out of him like lightning. I'm not afraid of dying, Alex. I'm afraid of losing this before we've even figured out what it is. Their foreheads pressed together. Rain began to fall outside. You come back to me, Alex whispered, or I burn Tokyo down to find you. The Yakuza compound, nightfall. The gate creaked open like a beast waking. Kenji walked through the shadows of his past. Guns. Knives. Old faces. New scars. He greeted them like a ghost. Back from the dead, are we? Sneered Toshiro, the head enforcer. Guess the grave wasn't deep enough, Kenji replied smoothly. But every word tasted like ash. He knew this place. He knew where the files were. The routes. The shipment schedules. The backchannel links to the South American cartel. He also knew the walls had ears. So he played it cool. Until they didn't. The interrogation room, 2:03 a.m. They knew. Someone tipped them off. The moment the door slammed shut and 3 men surrounded him, Kenji's heart sank. He fought. Fast. Dirty. Brutal. But they had numbers. They cracked a rib, split his lip, burned him with cigarettes. What did you tell the cop? Toshiro snarled, slamming Kenji's head back against the chair. Who are you working for? Kenji spat blood. Your mama. That earned him another punch. He smiled through it, because pain meant he was still alive. And if he was still alive, he had a chance to win. Elsewhere, Alex learns the truth. Alex slammed the traitor against the wall. Tell me again, he growled. Who sold him out? Private Nico stuttered. I didn't mean to. They threatened my family. I swear, I didn't know they'd hurt him. Alex punched the wall beside Nico's head. You gave him a death sentence. I gave them a name, that's it. Alex stared at him, then turned. I'm going to get him out. Suki stepped in. Alex, wait. You're emotional. I'm done waiting. And then he was gone. The rescue, blood and smoke. Kenji was half conscious by the time Alex stormed in. Guns blazed. Shadows screamed. Bodies fell. Alex found Kenji slumped in the chair, blooded, eyes barely open. But when he saw Alex, he smiled. Hey, you burned Tokyo yet? Alex cut him loose, caught him as he fell. I told you to come back to me. Kenji blinked. Guess you're the fire. Back at the safe house, dawn. Kenji's injuries were brutal, but not fatal. Suki bandaged him while muttering curses in 3 languages. Alex didn't leave his side all night. At sunrise, Kenji stirred. You stayed. I'm not leaving. Kenji turned to him. I don't want to be your weakness. Alex leaned in. You're not. You're my reason to finish this. They didn't kiss. Not this time. They just held hands. Quiet. Unspoken. But no longer enemies. Never again. You once asked if I was still Yakuza. Tonight, I give you my answer, with blood. Kenji. Opening scene. The storm before the end. Kenji's wounds were still fresh, but his mind burned hotter than the pain. He sat on the edge of the bed, shirtless, bandaged, staring out the window as Tokyo's skyline blinked with distant lightning. He knew what had to be done. Behind him, Alex watched in silence. You're not healed, Alex said. I'm not waiting, Kenji replied. The boss, the man who raised me, is making a move tonight. Final shipment to the South American cartel. If I don't stop him now, I never will. Alex stepped closer. Then we go together. Kenji turned, jaw tight. This is my burden. Alex leaned in. No. It's ours now. Flashback, the father and the sword. The scene cut to Kenji as a child, kneeling before a man in a white kimono. The Yakuza boss. The one who called him son, but trained him like a soldier. I gave you a name, the boss once said. You give me loyalty. Nothing else matters. Kenji remembered the day he held his first knife. The day he was told to kill a traitor to prove himself. He did it. But it never stopped haunting him. The Yakuza estate, that night. Undercover, with Suki running reckon in a black van and Alex armed to the teeth, they arrived. The estate was lit like a funeral pyre. Kenji walked through the front gate without fear. And there, on the second floor balcony, stood the boss. Dressed in white. Just like always. Kenji, he greeted. Come to return home? No, Kenji said, loud and clear. I came to burn it down. Gunfire erupted. The firefight, brothers turned enemies. Suki's signal jammed the alarms. Alex took the flank, swift, efficient, deadly. Kenji went straight up the central staircase, blade in hand. No guns this time. Just steel. Toshiro, the enforcer who tortured him, tried to block the hallway. Kenji didn't hesitate. Steel met flesh. Blood sprayed the walls. No more words. No more mercy. The showdown, blood ties severed. Finally, he faced the boss. The room was silent. The lights low. You could have led this family, the boss said, pouring himself a drink. Instead, you lie with a cop. You sell us out. You shame me. Kenji stared him down. You never raised me. You trained me. There's a difference. The boss pulled a blade from his sleeve. Then die like a traitor. They fought. No backup. Just two blades. Two warriors. One fate. It was brutal. Personal. Beautiful in a way only tragedy can be. Kenji got the upper hand. And with trembling hands, he pressed the blade to the boss's heart. "You called me son," Kenji whispered. "But I'm not yours anymore." The blade sank in. The old man gasped. Then fell. Aftermath, the oath. Alex arrived just as Kenji dropped the blade. Their eyes met across the blood-soaked room. "It's over," Kenji said, voice hollow. Alex crossed the room, pulling Kenji into a fierce hug. "Not yet," Alex said. "We still have to make it count. We still have to survive." At the docks, final blow to the cartel. Suki's intel was good. The final Yakuza cartel shipment was minutes from departing Tokyo Bay. Kenji and Alex arrived first. Suki followed with a tactical unit. Bullets flew. Smoke and flames lit the sky. The cartel captain tried to escape in a boat. Kenji jumped in after him, desperate, wild, cold with vengeance. He dragged the man down into the water. Only one of them came up. Final scene, vanishing act. Days later, headlines read, "Tokyo's underworld crumbles, Yakuza lineage severed, international cartel scattered." But Kenji? Vanished. No trace. Alex sat on the rooftop where they first met, fingers tight around a letter. Kenji's handwriting. "If I survive this, I'll find you. But if I don't, know this. You weren't just my light. You were my way out." Alex folded the letter. And waited. "The world called me a ghost. But with you, I became a man again." Kenji. 3 months later, Tokyo. The city had changed. The Yakuza had gone underground, the cartel was fractured, and half the task forces had been reassigned. But none of that mattered to Alex. He now worked private security, quiet, distant, cold to everyone. Not because he was grieving. No, grieving meant there was closure. He had none. Kenji was gone. No body. No trail. No answers. But every night, he returned to the same rooftop where they had watched the city glow, the same rooftop where Kenji once told him, "If anything ever happens to me, don't look for me in the shadows. Look for me in the light." And that's what he did. Until one night, a black origami crane landed beside him. Flashback, the escape. We cut to Kenji, 3 months earlier, underwater and bleeding after the fight with the cartel boss. But he'd survived. Saved by an old contact from Okinawa who owed him a life debt. For weeks, he drifted between safe houses, healing, hiding, waiting for the cartel to collapse fully. Then he reached out to one person. Suki, the hacker who'd once said she hated romance. She gave him a burner phone, fake passport, and exactly one condition. You disappear forever. Or you come back and fix what you broke. Rooftop reunion, nightfall. Alex picked up the origami crane. It had one word inside. Now. He didn't think. He ran. Down rooftops, through neon-lit alleys, back to the place where it all started, the tea shop. The one Kenji used as a front. Burned to the ground. But now, it stood rebuilt. And inside, under the golden lights, stood Kenji, in a dark kimono, waiting. Alex froze. Kenji looked older, more worn, but his eyes were the same. "Is this real?" Alex whispered. Kenji stepped closer. "You waited," he said. "Even after I disappeared. You said you'd find me," Alex said, voice cracking. "I believed you." Kenji took his hand. "Then believe this." And he kissed him. No more hesitation. No more war. Just the fire that had always been there, finally, freely, without chains. Closing montage, new lives, new names. Tokyo Bay, the last Yakuza warehouse now houses an outreach center for displaced youth. The symbol outside? A crane and a tiger. Suki starts a cyber-vigilante crew targeting trafficking networks. Her code name? Silkstorm. Alex and Kenji disappear from Tokyo. But whispers say they now live in Kyoto, running a quiet self-defense dojo near the river. Every evening, they drink tea on the porch. Every morning, they train together in silence, until one breaks it with a joke, a kiss, or a memory. And every night, Alex reads the same words from the letter Kenji left behind. They trained me to kill. You taught me to feel. I was a shadow, born in silence. But with you, I found my voice. If this is the end of the story, let it be the start of a life. Not as Kenji the Yakuza, not as Alex the bodyguard, but as two men who chose love over war. In the end, there was only you.